All right, I know it's poor form to talk about the Mune. And by the way, guys, I am technically very close, or I should be able to do the monetization, but YouTube is complicated. So, anyway, there was a preview trailer shown at the Comic Con. I live on the East Coast, I totally forgot. But honestly, even if I remembered, I probably wouldn't be able to afford to get there. So please support the channel so I can go to things like Comic Con and, give you guys the previews. All right, so because it is technically a preview, Disney is always a little weird. Like, I know I did a thing with Loki and they struck the channel. They just took down the video. I don't think I got a copyright strike, but they're sometimes a little sensitive. I will give Kevin Feige this. Feige is usually very tolerant, right? Because so when the MCU drops the trailers or teasers, they're like, yeah, they're pretty loose. But I will be a little cautious and keep it very broad. So this seems totally legit. Someone, well, basically, got a sneaky version of the teaser for season two, and it seems totally legit. So what do we have? Well, basically, without spoiling too much of season one, we have a kind of a time travel thing that happened at the end of season one. And I will be totally honest, the story's a little confusing. It does seem like it will be a story where Apocalypse is a central focus, but I don't know if he's necessarily the main bad guy. But apparently he is going to be central to the story. So what do we have? Well, we have Omega Red, we've got Nightcrawler, we've also got some other classic characters related to Wolverine. But I will be honest, it didn't look that good. I mean, compared to season one. Now, season one had a decidedly different look in terms of the animation from the classic X-Men of the 90s. So it looked a little bit off. And this is a preview, so hopefully they'll clean it up a little bit. And it looked really fuzzy because, again, this is not the actual official teaser, so it's going to look a little weird. However, I did find the animation not as engaging as what they had with season one. So it is what it is. Maybe they just changed the look. They're experimenting, so on and so forth. There is some extra information I have about the season. I'm not going to share it here because I just want to give my raw reaction. Is it still worth looking at? I'd have to say yes, although I'm a little confused. I thought what they gave at the end of season one hinted that they would go down a different route, which I'm actually kind of glad because I thought the way they were going with the story was not the right idea. So it could be they've done a rewrite or they've changed the focus from what they originally wanted to do. Because Bo, the gay black writer who was controlling the series, basically, was kicked out. And he says season two will be a little bit different from what he planned, but he did still have a hand. So he did a great job with season one. He did say, and often does say on Twitter, he referenced the comics and had to go back to the cartoon to solve a lot of problems. And you'll definitely notice there's a lot of consistency and continuity from season one with the original series. They still changed a lot. Yes, it's true. They changed a lot, but it maintained a lot of consistency, which I was shocked. I was shocked at how much consistency there was. But that was season one. And season two may be a little different. So, what are the good points? Well, Wolverine looks excellent. It's not that he looked bad with season one, but here he looks pretty excellent. The jokes, unless you're a hardcore X-Men fan, you'll like the jokes if you're a hardcore fan. If you're a passive fan, you're going to be a little puzzled with the jokes. Even if you know 1990s culture, you'll be like, why is that a joke? How's that funny? Why are they talking like that? It's like that's a deliberate comedic beat. So this is still made for the very hardcore people. They are probably the ones who are going to get the most out of it, right? Like you'll recognize a certain guy. I'll tell you who it is. It's not spoiling anything. It's Cable, right? But unless you really know the X Men, you're like, wait, why is that eyes? Why is the guy glowing eye? That's Cable. So it still seems very much for the hardcore fans, which season one was. However, the guys who were doing most of the work for season one, it's not the same exact people. So I think season one was excellent. I would give that like an A minus, 9 out of 10 overall. It was a very strong season. But that was season one. And also, Feige wasn't paying much attention. But now they are going to change things with Doomsday, Robert Downey Jr. So they may do things to the cartoon series, even though it's technically its own canon. Uh, it's the MCU. They're going to tie everything together. So I'm a little worried they may lean the story in a certain way because, again, good or bad, the Doom story is going to be a multiverse time travel story. No doubt about that. And this seems like a multiverse time travel centric story. So it is what it is. Now, ironically, I think the time travel episodes were some of the best in the X-Men cartoon series to me. I've always loved them, especially the one with Cable and Bishop. To me, those are some of the most golden episodes. However, that is my own taste. A lot of people have really soured onto multiverse and time travel stuff, but I think with the X-Men, it has been done overall really good. I will say though that season one did a few shifty things, like what happened to certain characters. You're like, well, was that really a permanent death? That seems now in doubt, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. So my basic verdict is it still looks really, really good, but I will be honest, it seems a little disappointing from what we got with season one. Now, if you didn't love the animation of season one, this may be better for you. This may be more refreshing look. But I kind of adjusted myself to season one and that kind of animation, so this feels a little jarring. And they are not really giving away what the story is. The focus is on Apocalypse, but apparently they're gonna have to make some devil deal with the guy. But beyond that, it's really confusing about what exactly the story is. Like Bishop will be a big part of it, Cable will be a big part of it. Like Wolverine is a lot. Like they are featuring Wolverine a lot in this teaser. Now that could just be clickbait, frankly, because they know Wolverine is a massively popular character, or they will do something with him. However, in the comics, it was usually X Factor, right? X Factor and Apocalypse were the main, right, antagonist, protagonist. Wolverine had a few stories like this, like with that was always with Mojo. Like from my memory, he and Apocalypse only had a few run-ins. I mean, from my memory, but again, my memory. But Cable being linked to Apocalypse, that is canonical. So it's a little confusing. It is a little confusing. However, if Wolverine, Cable, and Bishop are prominent, that's great. Again, I don't want to spoil season one for the few people who have not seen it, but Bishop basically was like a cameo. He barely appeared. I was like, it was actually pretty shocking. I was like, oh, they're gonna have Bishop, but then they didn't have him. So this is good. This is gonna be good and balanced. I do like Bishop. But again, it's very confusing. I will say a lot of other X Men got short shrift. Right? We do see Cyclops. We do see some of the core characters, but there were quite a few people missing. There are people I know the fans will love. Like Sabretooth shows up, right? Nightcrawler shows up, but a lot of key people are missing, so that's a little weird. I don't know if they're going to be killed off or the focus will not be on them. But again, if you do love Storm, Wolverine, right, the main popular characters, you're going to get what you want. And it does seem still focused on the hardcore people who have read the comics and definitely love the cartoons. So it's all there, but I'm still a little worried they're not going to match the quality of season one, which is fine. If they still do like a great series, that'll be great. If they get an 8 out of 10, that'll still be very good. But, you know, it would be nice if they got another near perfect season. So it doesn't look as great as season one, but it still looks really good. And it's very confusing, but Apocalypse is going to apparently be the major focus. But beyond that, I don't know. I don't know. And again, that could be a twist. They're setting up Apocalypse, but it'll be someone else, right? They kind of did that with season one. You thought it was going to be this guy, turned out to be the other guy. I didn't like the twist, frankly, at the end with the villains. I thought that was kind of lame, but that's me. So my verdict for this would be a 6.75 for the teaser. It's a strong 6.75, but I got a lot of questions. I got a lot of questions.